Hey Grande Alive, this is your weekly Newsish Roundup, brought to you by Grande Ronde Hospital, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, and anything2digital.com. There's a lot of discouraged people right now in La Grande. Last night, Wednesday, April 4th, the city of La Grande denied the Liberty Theater Foundation a large amount of funding to restore the Liberty Theater in La Grande. Now, the backstory of the request is this. The Liberty Theater requested $250,000 from the city of La Grande, $150,000 of which would be a debt forgiveness of a loan that had already been given. Now, if the theater had been awarded this money, said Kelly Ducote, the grant writer from the foundation, they would have requested $1 million more from the state.
Really believe in, on our consultant's advice, we really feel that having buy-in from the city or the urban renewal agency, as the case may be, that's super important as we go to the legislature and try to leverage that support for some bigger dollars. And so we're kind of in discussions now to see where that might fall. They tabled the discussion last week, and we're very anxious to see what they might consider at their next meeting.
But according to Dale Mammon, who I spoke with briefly this morning, neither of the loans were granted last night. The city voted at the city council meeting last night 3-3 with one person abstaining because of a conflict of interest. And with a tie, no die, the motion failed, putting the foundation, according to Dale, back to square one. Now, I also talked to Justin Rock, one of the dissenting votes this morning, and he said he personally believes the Liberty Theater project is amazing. But he's a businessman, he said, and the project, even if the state awarded it the $1 million they were hoping for, would only be halfway funded. He wants to fund projects that are more fully developed. But there is hope for the Liberty Theater, at least according to Rob McIntyre, the project manager at the theater in Athena, much like the Liberty Theater here in La Grande. Now, they've been working on their project for almost a decade to restore the theater. And he said they have been at the place the Liberty has at least 4 times, and I quote, "If you can grit your teeth, you can do it. Don't give up," he said. "Focus on the small parts of the project, and eventually the project will progress." But what do you think, La Grande Alive? Should the city have funded the Liberty Project? What direction should they head in the future? Your comments in the section below. This title story was brought to you by I once heard a story about a professional ballerina who said that every time before she went on stage, her stomach got all tingly and got butterflies. No matter how many times you perform, you're always nervous beforehand, and that's no exception for me with Coffee with Will. And this week I had to take a deep, deep breath because I got the opportunity to interview the one, the only Mrs. Oregon, United States 2016, Lori McNeil, right here in La Grande, Oregon. And though she's a personal friend, she's kind of a big deal. Now, every year, everyone who participates in the Mrs. Oregon pageant runs on a particular platform, and Lori's platform is literacy.
Having increased literacy skills really allows someone to look at things differently and to pursue maybe other opportunities than they wouldn't have thought of before. Maybe it's an adventure that they have, learned about in a book, or if it's a personal development book, maybe that's an opportunity that they can think of themselves in a different way. So having stronger literacy skills and learning how to be a strong reader really does open up the mind to all kinds of other possibilities within the world. And so I'm very passionate about people meeting their goals and becoming the best versions of themselves that they can be.
In addition to being Mrs. Oregon 2016, Lori is a self-published author of educational children's books. She has 2 books published and 8 more on the way. And her passion for educating children, she said, goes all the way back to her childhood she spent seeing the cost of reading difficulties in her friends.
Although I didn't struggle with it, I was affected emotionally by the people that I cared about.
Absolutely.
And I saw the impact that had on their self-esteem, on how they viewed themselves and what they were capable of doing. I saw so much more potential, and I saw how that just affected all areas of their life. And then the families as well. Absolutely. So with the parents that were trying so hard to help their son or their daughter, or to help someone that they cared about. So I found myself in these roles where I just naturally started helping more and more of my peers and my friends and family, and using a gift that I had, something that came very naturally to me, in order to help other people.
Overall, the conversation was a fun one-on-one with one of the most accomplished people I've ever met. The rest of this conversation is available to be watched on the GrandeAlive.tv's Facebook page. And here's your upcoming events with Emily Adair in Get Out and Go.
I'm Emily Adair from Go Magazine.
And I'm Will Bowman from GrandeLive.tv, and this is Get Out and Go.
It's a busy week for local artists, with new shows opening in galleries all over. First, in La Grande, Art Center East is opening an exhibit that promises to be a little different from its usual shows.
The exhibit is called Raw Materials, Textile, Metal, and Stone, and it will open with a reception this Friday. Now, that same day, several galleries in downtown Baker will also open new shows during the first Friday Art Walk.
In terms of music, Tunesmith Night returns to Enterprise with 3 visiting songwriters. Ivy Ross Ricci and Malachi Graham are both based in the Pacific Northwest, while Carl Solomon is from Baltimore. Tunesmith Night showcases the artist's unique songwriting abilities in a round-robin format.
The Inland Northwest Chorale, a regional group of singers, is preparing for 2 upcoming performances. The first will be right here in La Grande, and the second will be in Weston. Both performances will share 2 major works, a requiem and a serenade to music.
Go Magazine also looks at a book signing, a teen movie night, the annual Tamcalix Rummage and Bake Sale, and a call to artists.
For more information, grab a copy of this week's Go Magazine, which is inserted in the Observer.
Go Magazine is also distributed in businesses around town, and we're online at gonortheastoregon.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
For more local content, check out LaGrandeLive.tv. Thanks for tuning in to Get Out and Go. A couple of other events this week. This Saturday, there will be a bridal show at the Eastern Oregon University Gilbert Center. It's the biggest bridal show in Eastern Oregon, and there will be local vendors, custom wedding clothes makers, plus an appearance by Lori McNeil, my Coffee with Will interviewee. Also, next Thursday, there is an Allegre Travel Vacation Night put on by Allegre Travel. It will be held at the Masonic Lodge right above the business. For an RSVP, call this number. And here's your EOU Sports with Evan and Chris and Around the Mountain in 90 seconds.
I'm Evan House.
And I'm Chris Duarte.
This is Around the Mountain in about 90 seconds.
Over this past weekend, the EOU softball team clinched a series against Carroll, winning 2 of 3 in Montana. Yesterday, in non-conference games against Walla Walla, the team scored a total of 30 runs in the afternoon doubleheader. Some of the highlights included senior Taylor Smith blasting 2 home runs, and senior right fielder Jordan Gerlach produced a career-high 6 RBIs, highlighted by her grand slam in Game 1. The Mounties are now 19-10 overall, winning their last 16 of 21, and face Northwest this Friday and Saturday.
In McMinnville this past weekend was the EOU track and field team for the Boyd Memorial Invite. Austin Kilcup tossed a 57.43 meter throw for an NAIA A standard in the javelin. Harlan McBride earned an NAIA B standard with a 1.63 meter high jump, taking first. The men's 4x400 team of Dustin Zimmerly, Thomas Morrill III, Devin Lewis Allen, and Cooper Shaw took first. A few other Mountaineers carded second place finishes, including Jabari Cumberbatch in the 200 meter dash. Porter Klein and Lucas Hidalgo tied for second in the pole vault. Haley White in the 100 meter hurdles, Paige Dodd in the high jump, and finally Kendall Current in the 100 meter dash.
And a special shout out to our sports information director, Seth Dolly, who got a new venture out in Seattle for next week. Good luck.
Thank you for all you've done for EOU Athletics.
That's a wrap for EOU Athletics. Stay tuned next week as we take you around the mountain in about 90 seconds.
For more information, visit at www.eusports.com.
And this week, on Behind the Streams, we take a look behind the scenes at the local business side of La Grande Live and why exactly you should spend your cash with local businesses.
Shopping local. You've heard about it, talked about it. But do you know why it's important? Shopping local benefits your local businesses, your community, and, well, you. Brent Clapp is a local business owner. He started Brent Clapp Media Services back in 2007 because he wanted to do something he loved while making a difference in his community.
I'm Brent Clapp, and I started Brent Clapp Media Services about 7 years ago now. It really is Tanya is the one who said, you need to do something that you love, and we got a loan and started the business. I'd have never done it without her saying, we need to do this. And on the La Grande Live TV side, the possibilities of that are really endless because there is no visual competition. There is no other media in the area that can compete with the visual content that we can produce.
When you shop small, you don't just buy from a brand, you buy from a person.
It's not that I'm buying groceries from a particular store name. It's that I'm buying groceries from Troy.
Brent also explained the reason small businesses sometimes have higher prices is because small businesses have to mark up their products and labor. Big box stores have less of a markup because they can afford to buy product in bulk. But that extra money you spend at local businesses, Brent said, will always go right back into the pockets of local vendors and, ultimately, back into your pocket.
The mentality is that I'm giving it to my local economy. I'm giving it to that business owner who lives here. And again, all of that creates a very powerful synergy in us contributing to each other's businesses.
And he's not the only one that feels this way. Other local business owners and business representatives also feel that shopping local is important for a variety of reasons.
So staying local, trying to shop locally, those businesses can then support all of the local events and groups that are here. Because most of the corporate goes and they do support things, but not as much. They're not as involved just locally right downtown.
At the end of the day, they're coming here to support us, and they know that because well, honestly, I can tell you right now that at least 5% of my annual sales go directly back into the community in the form of promotions and sponsorships and all these things, 4-H clubs and football teams and the film festival, right? So we're putting a lot of money directly back into the community. People recognize that and they come in and support us.
And the prices aren't that different. You'll see some increases. It's going to be more expensive, of course. You're not going to beat Walmart. But if you shop around and get to know your local merchants, look what's in season, look what's going on, it's not that huge of a jump and well worth it.
It's not just theory. The numbers are there. When you shop at a big box store, 15 cents from every dollar stays in our community. But when you shop at a local business, 45 cents out of that same dollar stays right here. That's a big difference. But you might be thinking, how can I afford this? Well, I, Will Bowman, also tossed in my 2 cents to this conversation to say that there are small ways you can begin to shop small that won't necessarily cost you more.
Start small. Make decisions on things which are not that price different from where you would shop at a big box store. I recently saw a billboard out on Island Avenue that had a giant picture of a coffee cup made out of coffee beans for McDonald's that said, "Coffee this good shouldn't be this cheap. $1. I can get a $1 cup of coffee at Marketplace Family Foods or Orange Rhino Bakery. Both those places sell better coffee for just the same price. Spend a little bit of time figuring out which things aren't going to cost you more.
Shopping local isn't about being selfless. It's about building strong communities with healthy economies and cultures, which ultimately translates into higher wages, more vibrant towns, and a better life for everyone, including you.
And be sure to tune in to La Grande Live, our weekday evening live stream, every weekday at 6 p.m. We have your most recent La Grande Live content on our website and our Facebook page. And that's your weekly Newsish Roundup. This roundup was brought to you by Grande Ronde Hospital, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, and anythingtodigital.com. Please like and share this video and tune into lagrandealive.tv for more local content. I'm Will Bowman.